In a small, sleepy Oregon town, Jacob Pierce was turning 10 years old. His friends and family had gathered for a birthday party in their local park. It had all the makings of a perfect day for a young boy entering the double digits for the first time. There was a hired magician attempting to make balloon animals as children loudly mocked him. There was cake, ice cream, and an ice cream cake for those who couldn't make up their mind about which they'd rather have. There were pizzas, pepperoni and cheese, and bowl after bowl of chips. Jacob was having the best day ever. As he blew out the candles on his birthday cake, he quietly wished for something amazing to happen. It was already a good day, but it was also a little mundane. A fan of science fiction and fantasy, Jacob had always quietly hoped that turning 10 would usher in an era of magic and mystery. Perhaps he would encounter aliens for the first time. Maybe he would solve a grand mystery, or learn about a civilization of tiny people living in his backyard. Or maybe, just maybe, he would wake up to find he had acquired magical powers. Suddenly, he would cease to be an ordinary young boy who had to worry about math homework and playground bullies. He would instead become something special, someone who could change the world around him and finally make a difference, just like the heroes of all of his favorite books. So as his mother set the cake down in front of him and everyone sang happy birthday with loud off-key enthusiasm, Jacob closed his eyes and wished. Little did he know that his wish was about to come true. At least, it sort of was. After cake, it was time for every kid's favorite part of their birthday party, the presents. A stack of colorfully wrapped packages sat on the picnic table, just waiting to be unwrapped. Jacob bounced excitedly, waiting for his mother to give the all clear. She gathered all the kids and Jacob's 19-year-old brother Nathan and instructed them to sit down and watch Jacob open his gifts. He tore the paper from board games, action figures, and an ill-advised stuffed animal or two, when suddenly Nathan produced a package he hadn't seen before. It was a lumpy item, wrapped in green paper. He handed it to Jacob, who, thrilled to be receiving a special present from his beloved older brother, immediately opened it. There was a toy dart gun, already loaded with a large foam dart. Overcome with excitement, Jacob jumped up from his seat and asked if he could play with it now. His mother said it was fine, and Jacob and his friends immediately jumped into action. They ran across the park as Jacob aimed the dart gun and decided which target to fire at it. As he squeezed the trigger aiming for his best friend Trevor, Nathan called out to him, "Don't shoot at him!" he yelled with sudden urgency. Startled, Jacob moved at the last minute, and the dart fired at a nearby stone wall instead of its original 9-year-old target. As soon as the dart hit the wall, it transformed into a wobbly stack of large stones. The stones tumbled down, landing on several people standing nearby. A man who had been leaning on the wall fell to the ground, where his leg was crushed under a falling stone. The magician, who was packing up his supplies, took a rock to the head and was immediately knocked unconscious. The park broke into pandemonium, people running and screaming, trying to figure out how a previously solid wall had turned into falling rocks. Nathan scooped up Jacob, the gun, and the dart and pulled him away from the chaos. Someone called the police, where an embedded SCP Foundation operative was alerted to the situation unfolding. Before Jacob and his family could vacate the park, 2 SCP operatives were already arriving on the scene. After speaking with several eyewitnesses, they identified the source of the anomalous activity as the toy gun and seized it for further investigation. All witnesses, including Jacob and his mother, were given amnestics in order to erase their memory of the toy gun and the incident in the park. Nathan Pierce, who was considered a person of interest for his initial possession of the gun, could not be found. He fled detention and Foundation custody, further indicating his knowledge of the gun's anomalous properties, and possibly indicating he was responsible for its creation. His online activity linked him to an organization satirically called Gamers Against Weed, a group of interest that had previously been linked to other anomalies seized by the Foundation. His younger brother Jacob had, without any knowledge, received a birthday gift that would later become designated SCP-3108. SCP-3108 is a modified Nerf brand dart gun that, when paired with its foam dart ammunition, designated SCP-3108-1, demonstrates anomalous transformative properties. When it fires other Nerf darts, it behaves like any ordinary toy, and the same goes for the dart when fired from any other Nerf gun. The only notable difference between SCP-3108 and any other ordinary toy dart gun is the writing on the side, which reads OP Please Nerf in red ink. When SCP-3108 is fired at an object, it will immediately be transformed or altered in a way that turns it into a worse version of itself. This can range anywhere from small changes to complete transformation on a molecular scale. The law of conservation of mass does not apply to these changes, and the gun's effects appear to defy the laws of physics. The transformed objects are not themselves anomalous in any way, and the changes they undergo appear to be influenced not by objective reality, but by the opinion of whoever wields the gun. Whatever the person firing SCP-3108 thinks would make the target worse is what comes to pass. An external examination of SCP-3108 revealed that it is made of a steel outer shell with decorative bronze inlays. It can be physically damaged but resists any attempts to take it apart. Security Officer Silva attempted to take it apart with his hands during a round of tests, but before he could break open the shell, he found his hands had transformed into a pair of rubber gloves. They hung limp and useless from his wrists as he flopped them around yelling for assistance. Officer Silva was promptly placed on leave, and no more attempts to disassemble SCP-3108 has been made since. Aside from this one instance, SCP-3108 does not have any effect on objects that are not directly hit by its dart. A variety of tests were performed, headed by Dr. Johnson and Dr. Dietz, in order to further examine the anomalous properties of SCP-3108. First, a traditional dartboard made of sisal fibers was set up on the wall of the lab. When hit with SCP-3108, the dartboard changed to a corkboard of the same shape and size, filled with several small holes and bearing a noticeable beer stain. A piece of 8x11 printer paper was transformed into a square of single-ply toilet paper. A sturdy coffee mug from the on-site cafeteria changed into a small teacup made of the same kind of ceramic. A dollar changed into a fake $100 bill from the board game Monopoly. It was determined that the gun's effects are determined by the personal preference of the person firing it when it was fired at a can of Coke. The can immediately turned into a can of Pepsi, much to the dismay of Security Officer Mike, who was observing the experiment and who preferred Pepsi. He took the gun next and fired it at the can, which promptly turned back into Coke. On another day of trials, a VHS tape of the 1971 film Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was transformed into a DVD copy of the 2005 remake of the same film, prompting the research team to wonder, does the gun have a sense of humor? It seems so. Next, the research team began conducting trials on living organisms. A rat was transformed into an ant, which Dr. Dietz found confusing. A female golden retriever was turned into a female American short-hair cat, unusually large at a weight of 15.4 kilograms, and displaying behavior more consistent with that of a dog. After rats and dogs, the team decided to move forward into human trials. A 28-year-old male was hit with the gun and promptly turned into a living specimen of Homo neanderthalensis. Right before the research team's eyes, he regressed into a real, live Neanderthal. After this trial, the team decided to see how dangerous the gun could be if pushed to the limits. Security Officer Gardner was handed SCP-3108 and ordered to fire the gun repeatedly, reloading each time until told to stop. A 24-year-old man was instructed to stand in the firing range and remain still. First, he transformed into a prehistoric man, then an unidentified species of gibbon, and next a three-toed sloth. On 9 occasions of the gun being fired, the subject did not change species, but rather took on physical signs of injury or disease. After 46 shots, testing was finally stopped after the subject was reduced to a small variety of earthworm. After attempting to track him down unsuccessfully for months, Nathan Pierce was finally located by Foundation personnel and apprehended at an internet cafe in Los Angeles, California. He was taken into custody and brought to Site-64 for questioning about the creation of SCP-3108. Dr. Dietz conducted the interview and asked why Nathan created the gun. Nathan referred to it as the Nerfing Gun and explained that he thought it would be funny. It didn't have any particularly grand purpose or intention. It was just something he had come up with and thought it would be entertaining. He experimented with it for a while, got bored of it, and then gave it to his brother as a gift. His only regret was not giving his brother a proper warning on how to use it before doing so. Dr. Dietz applied a little pressure, insisting that the anomaly was dangerous and could turn people into invertebrates. This stopped the interview cold, as Nathan became visibly distressed. He insisted that it was never intended to be used on people, but for low-level mischief. He concluded the interview by saying, "Why would you turn a joke into a torture device?" and demanded that Dr. Dietz leave his cell and stop speaking to him. Nathan Pierce was later released from custody, and the containment procedures for SCP-3108 were updated with this new information in mind. SCP-3108 is contained in the standard anomalous containment vault in Site-64, and is not allowed to be removed from said vault except for use in experiments. Proposed testing must be approved by Dr. Johnson and Dr. Dietz before it can be conducted. The gun may not be stored while loaded, and the foam dart is stored in a separate containment vault. During any and all testing, SCP-3108 is only to be handled by Site-64 security staff. Only one officer may hold and fire the object at a time, while a secondary officer observes and watches for potential accidents or any unapproved use of the item. Researchers and D-Class personnel are not permitted to fire the gun due to concerns about safety and security. It may not be used under any circumstances in cross-testing with other SCP objects. It is also forbidden from use in any testing on humanoids, as this is now considered an ethics violation. How would you use the Nerfing gun if it ever fell into your hands? And what do you think would happen? Let us know down in the comments, or we'll shoot and make your comments terrible. Now go check out Irresistible Pickup Artist SCP-3512 The More You Know, and Top 8 SCP objects you actually want for more dark and often hilarious anomalies.